Why do you need to use the Enneagram? And what's the difference between the Enneagram and other personality tools? So, this is a very clearly casual Friday. Casual Friday, really quick live about question I get all the time. So, first of all, why do we use the Enneagram as a leader? And then what's the difference between an Enneagram assessment, like taking that test, and a typing interview? Like, why would I do one over the other? So, the answer to that question, an Enneagram test or a typing interview, is really found in understanding why the Enneagram is such a powerful tool for your relationships, for the way that you work, for the way you operate as a leader. It's a deep level of self-awareness. So if you've been following me for a little bit, you know I love Dr. Tasha Ulrich, and she has done extensive research around self-awareness and why self-awareness is the number one leadership skill that you need. And if self-awareness is the number one leadership skill that you need, a lot of us are like, yeah, I'm self-aware. Isn't that great? How many of you, if you're listening live, you're like, yeah, I'm pretty self-aware. Well, the thing is, in her research, she's found that the self-aware leaders are generally more happy, which, as somebody who believes that work should be a joy and that work is a joy, that's great. So self-awareness is a way to get to that joy at work. But also it is people who run more engaged teams. They struggle with depression less. They also tend to run more profitable companies. So if self-awareness gives us those outcomes, that's phenomenal. Also, in her research, she's discovered that about 10% of people have accurate self awareness. I don't know about you, but that always just makes me go, oh, am I in that group? Like, what do you think about that? If you don't have accurate levels of self awareness, you actually don't get the benefits of higher emotional regulation, a more engaged team, a more profitable company. You don't get those benefits if you don't have accurate self awareness, which is why the Enneagram is so powerful. So, the Enneagram is different than other personality tools. It is much more of a personality self awareness tool than just showing you what you do and how you do it, which I love Strengths Finders and Myers Briggs. I still use them as a part of practices with clients at times. But the one that is the most transformative, that gives you the most accurate self-awareness, is the Enneagram, because it is talking about the deep whys. The Enneagram is why we do what we do, not just what we do. And because it's talking about the why, like why we are motivated to send an email with that level, with that type of communication, or why you feel some sort of way when you have a response from a team member, or why do you act in this way versus that way? Why do you jump to action versus stop and observe for a moment? The Enneagram unlocks those answers because it's showing you why. Why do you do what you do, not just what you're doing? And that power is really the way you get to make change. So if you just tell you what you do and you try to change your behavior, if you don't understand why, it's going to come out sideways some other way. Because it's about the deep whys, these core motivations to your life, not just I love my family, or I'd like to be successful in the world, or I want to travel. Like, those are my motivations. It is deep motivations that impact everything that you do. So if you are here live, I'm curious if you have heard of the Enneagram. If you are catching this replay, let me know if you know your Enneagram or you've heard of it before, and understand the power of using it as a leader. And so in that deep why, that actually shows us why an Enneagram assessment is not enough. That's the best way to say it. It's not that Enneagram assessments are bad, but they're just not enough. And it's because if you are asking a multiple choice assessment, like a this or that type of questioning to show you the deep motivations of your heart, That's just too much pressure. It can't handle that. It's like, toothpicks trying to raise a house. It's too much. You can't do anything. It's just too much weight on an assessment. So, and often because people often have this type of response, well, I don't know, it depends. And so if you've ever taken an Enneagram assessment, have you ever had that thought? Like, oh, I don't know, it depends. And if you are in an I don't know, it depends, and you are required to choose one or the other, you might not have enough accurate self-awareness to choose the right answer that actually reflects your internal thought process. So that is the power of an Enneagram typing interview. So an assessment is really making you narrow, but if you don't have enough self-awareness, you might accurately answer the questions. In a typing interview, I am asking you a lot of this or that questions, but I am not just looking at, did you choose A or B, and algorithmically sort you out. I am also, as an Enneagram expert, listening to the words that you use when you answer that question. I'm listening to I'm watching your body language when you answer that question. I am actually listening to the pace and rate of speech when you answer that question, because I have been trained to look at all of those things to put them together to guide you to understanding your type. Because as a this or that question on a questionnaire, you have to have a super high level of self-awareness. It's not actually a great mirror. It's only as much as you can give it. Whereas a typing interview, I can reflect back to you. Here's what I heard. Is that accurate? I'm watching you do this. I'm helping and guiding you and giving you a clearer and clearer picture of the way you're responding to these questions. And that's the power and difference between a typing interview, an Enneagram assessment, and a typing interview, because I'm going to lead you to choosing your own answer. I'm going to lead you in a guided way and asking you much deeper questions, even how you physically experience some of the questions, because there are physical components to choosing your Enneagram type. There's a body aspect of choosing your type. There's an emotional aspect. It's not just your mind. We don't just live up here in our brains. We have emotions and we have actions, we have bodies. And so all of that is a part of a typing interview. And so we're going to take all of that data together to help you determine your Enneagram type. And so an assessment is going to get you only so far. Also, because if you've ever taken an Enneagram assessment, the results are super confusing. Like they come out with your 3, 21, 7, 19, and maybe 9, 18. And you're like, I don't know what that means. And yeah, you don't. It's super confusing unless you've been trained to read that readout. Until you've been trained to read that report, you only get so much information. You only get so much data, and you don't get any wisdom. That's what happens in a test. So I can help you with the wisdom to help you determine your Enneagram type. So if you want that accurate level of self-awareness, the best way to get it is really a typing interview, because in that interview process, you are not only having an expert guide like me to help you determine that, but you are also practicing the skill of self-awareness, and with a coach helping you walk through it. It's not just a this or that questionnaire. The test can only do so much. It's like this, that, and you're like, I don't know, in the bins. That's what it feels like. And you don't like feeling cornered and pressured into that. Whereas a conversation, I'm asking you questions and kind of thinking about stuff and like, well, I heard you say this. Can you say more? It's a coaching opportunity for you to practice the skill of accurate self-awareness that gets you all those great outcomes that you want: better relationships, more happiness, a highly engaged team, running a more profitable department or company in general. All of those outcomes are from that skill of accurate self-awareness. So a typing interview is helping you do that work. And then the other thing that comes with the typing interview is the now what? Like you get this Enneagram assessment and it's 6 pages long, or maybe it's a color wheel and it's got these triangles coming out of it. Well, now what? Now what do? I can read it and I'm like, yeah, that's my type. Maybe, even if you're like 90% sure, now what? Now what? So in a typing interview, we have the opportunity as an Enneagram expert to say, okay, here is the next step for you, because I'm going to ask you questions about your goals and where you want to go. And so if that's where you are headed with your goals and what you want to change and what you want to improve, then based on your Enneagram type, here are some things you should try next. And it helps you with the now what. Because if you just use the Enneagram and you find out your type, you're like, yes, I'm a 4. Fantastic. And you put it back up on a shelf. It does you really absolutely no good. It's kind of like a party trick at that point. You're like, yeah, I did the Enneagram. I'm a 4. Do I know what that means? Absolutely not. No. So you have to know what to do with it next. And that's the power of a typing interview. And that's what I want for you as a leader, as somebody who wants to move forward and change your career in that way, or to have better relationships, figure out why this one person always rubs you the wrong way, and how to deal with other people who are different than you, developing that others' perspective and compassion for yourself and others. That's what improves your team dynamic. That's what creates a better, more engaged team, and you as a better leader. So one last thing about choosing your type. If you let an assessment say, yes, this is you, and it labels you, it's very easy to blame the assessment or say, or not feel confident in the answer. You've kind of given away your leadership responsibility over to this or that questionnaire. Versus in a typing interview, I'm not going to tell you, well, you're a 3 or, well, you're a 1. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say, here are your answers. Here are the descriptions. Let's walk through them and you decide which one fits you best. So again, you're practicing the skill of self-awareness. You're practicing decision-making skills. And you then have the confidence that I have this. It's a confidence building skill. I can do this because I'm the one that chose. Yes, you have a guide. I mean, I have like 6 coaches. I love having coaches, but what the best coaches especially the ones that I have, are leading me to the answers. So I develop more and more confidence as a leader, as a speaker, as a businesswoman, all of those things. So that's the power of a typing interview for you. You're actually developing that skill of confidence in the very process of of understanding your Enneagram type. So as an Enneagram 7, I love the efficiency of that. Like, oh, we're doing it all at one time and we're not going to miss anything. Welcome to Enneagram 7. And so when I'm asking you those questions, it will be very reflective, and it will help you gain that confidence of knowing who you are, the best of you, and what are the parts of you that you're like, ugh, I would like that to be a little bit different, without having to give up all the great parts of who you are. And I can help you lead that next step. And that's what I love about a typing interview. There is a light bulb moment after a light bulb moment of like, oh my gosh, now it all makes sense. Here's why I do this. There's that moment, which is the first step. But then now you know what to do next. And that builds your confidence. That creates a better leader. That creates a more highly engaged team when you start using it in your everyday walking around life in your career. So if that is something that is interesting to you, I would love for you to let me know. You can just put typing in the comments. You can send me a DM and we can get started, and I'll share the details with you about how long it takes and all that kind of stuff. But I really wanted to share the difference between a test and a typing interview, because that is a question I get a lot. And why would I invest in a typing interview when I can take this free assessment online? And I'm going to say a little bit of, you get what you pay for. A free assessment can only take you so far, but knowing what to do next and actually feeling like you're the one who made the decision, that's incredibly powerful for you as a leader, for you as a human, for you as a parent, as a spouse, as a partner. That's where the power is. And that's what I want for you. So if you're interested, I would love to chat with you. Just, like I said, drop a comment in, or you can send me a DM and I will get you the information to help you get to the point where you have the accurate self-awareness that really transforms your life. All right, everybody. I will see you all later. Bye.